So Jen and I met online on an LDS website, and it was instant attraction. It was fast. We met at the end of August, early September, and we got married in December.
I had 4 kids at the time that we were married, and so Merrill just kind of jumped in, and he was an Insta-dad, and he did a great job of just filling that role and jumping into our family. And it's not always easy to jump into traditions and everything else you already have going on, and he did a really good job of doing that.
Then in February, we found out we were pregnant with Ethan, and we were very excited to bring this new addition into our family, and the kids were ecstatic, and there was a lot of preparation, a lot of excitement in the air to bring little Ethan into our home. It was about 2.5 months before Ethan's 2nd birthday when he started having some cramping in his legs, and we started noticing some bruising that wasn't going away. And at first we thought it was typical bruising because toddlers run into things, and Ethan was so active. We just thought, well, maybe he's just being a little kid. And the bruising never went away though, and it caused some concern. Well, one morning he woke up just screaming in pain, said, I can't walk, and it was really hard for him. So we called some friends over, and we talked it over, and we sent him to the Instacare to get, an assessment. We didn't know what was wrong. And from the Instacare, they said, you need to go to Primary Children's Hospital. And that's when we knew something was really wrong with our little Ethan.
I remember sitting in the oncology unit at Primary Children's and seeing all of these little bald kids, and just wondering what I was doing there. And I think that was the beginning of knowing that something was really wrong with Ethan. Merrill was able to come later, and after we had been there for a few hours, we still hadn't heard anything, and he was able to come up and was there when the doctors told us that Ethan had leukemia. He had acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and they told us we would have a 3.5-year treatment plan for him, and it would be a long treatment. They admitted us that day into the hospital. And it was a really tough time as a family. It was hard to tell the kids. It was hard to really know that something was wrong with him that could be life-threatening. But I feel like it helped us to pull together as a family and to become stronger.
Being Ethan's dad and watching him at the hospital and through all this leukemia treatment was very difficult. But one thing I admire about Ethan was that he never complained about things. He was always very receptive to the treatment. He understood he needed to do it. I admire his strength and his courage throughout this process, and it's a good example for me to look up to.
Ethan was in and out of the hospital for a couple of years. He finished up his initial hard phase of his treatments in about 9 months, and then he moved into maintenance, which is a little bit easier. Their hair grows back, they regain some of their energy. They only have to get chemo at the hospital once a month instead of every week. And so we had a year of him being in maintenance, and that was a really good time for us. We were able to go do our Make-A-Wish, just a magical time. It was amazing. Shortly after that, that year, he relapsed for the first time. And that was a really hard blow for our family. It was hard to know that we were going to have to go back into treatments again.
Ethan had struggled a lot with some of the therapy he was receiving here at Primary Children's Hospital. He had done a study drug there called blinatumomab, and that had worked initially, but then his cancer relapsed. He tried a bone marrow transplant here, and that didn't work either. So we were able to find a new therapy up at Seattle Children's Hospital, which was an immunotherapy that we were willing to try as kind of a last resort. So we went up to Seattle to try and test this out. Unfortunately, the initial T-cell infusion, as it's called, did not work as successfully as they wanted it to initially. So we were looking at doing that therapy again when we found out that Ethan's cancer had gone completely out of control. There was nothing left that they could do at that point, and that's when we returned home to spend his final days.
After we had been back home at Primary Children's for about a month, we knew that Ethan wasn't going to make it. They told us that there was nothing else they could do. The cancer was returning in full force. And so I was sitting at the hospital with Ethan, and I texted Meryl and I said, you know what, let's just celebrate all of the holidays. Let's just do it all in 1 week. And so we let our neighbors know that we were doing it, and word caught fire. And so we were able to celebrate Ethan's birthday and Halloween and Christmas all in 1 week. It was amazing. The neighborhood put up all of their Christmas lights. They put up Halloween decorations. We went trick-or-treating from door to door on October 21st. And on his birthday, we celebrated with a big parade that FantasyCon was here, and we were able to celebrate with all of our neighbors and friends. And then for Christmas, the fire engine came. We had a fire engine brought Santa Claus, and FM 100 played Christmas music for 3 hours on October 24th for us. And it was really neat to be able to see everyone celebrating Ethan, and it was amazing how far and how fast his story spread. And we got so many letters and emails and Facebook posts saying how much Ethan's story meant to them, and we were so grateful that Ethan was able to touch so many lives.
One thing I remember about Ethan's final days was just his story of courage and his faith. Seeing him lie on the couch, struggling to breathe, really hit home to me. He wasn't complaining at that point. He was just full of love, and it meant a lot to me to see his strength. And then watching him pass was probably one of the most amazing experiences of my life, because at that moment I knew he was at home and he was at peace.
Ethan's funeral was a really neat experience for us. It was neat to see so much support, and it helped us to feel of so many people's love that they had for us, and we were so grateful for them, and it helped us to be able to feel love for them also.
My Story Matters did a tremendous job of helping us reflect in a positive way on Ethan's life, and when we told our story of Ethan to them, they helped kind of memorialize that for us in a way that was simple, but very, very specific to what we needed. It was very personalized, and we appreciate very much what they did and the time they spent to help preserve those memories.